Weird. Welcome to Conscious Guys Get Laid More, episode 20. Andy's talking
21.
21. Get laid more eventually.
Eventually.
Andy,
welcome.
I wanted to push record because you were getting into good, juicy stuff.
Good, juicy stuff.
You applied for grad school.
Yeah, I applied for grad school. If you watched the episode we did with the girls, you know I didn't get into my top choice this round, but we'll see about next year. I told my parents this past weekend that I was applying to grad school.
Oh, so you didn't tell them before?
Nope.
No.
They didn't know I wasn't working at Productive Learning anymore either.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's because you're a man. You do what you want. You don't
do what I want.
You don't need to ask permission of your parents.
Yeah, it just, I don't know what the whole deal was. Like, sometimes it feels like they feel a lot and then have a lot. I expect either a lot of judgment or a lot of opinion or a lot of stuff from them. And I wasn't ready for that. So I just kept it to myself.
Oh, interesting.
And so it was interesting when I shared that I was all of that. Plus I was applying to grad school, but my mom cried on the phone when I told her.
That's nice. Or you think it's nice? What's the story you're spinning on it? I have a story. I have a story that is, I'll just...
Tell me your story.
I'll tell you my story based off of the one sentence that I just heard right now. My story is that she's proud of you.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so she's looking at the kid that she created and brought into this world and how he's going out and pursuing his dreams.
Yeah.
Makes me cry. Do you think you have COVID?
Yeah, you want some? No, I do not think I have COVID.
I think I do. I just want to get it and get immune and walk around like I got a shield on, cocky and everything.
Cocky and everything.
Start licking rails and stuff.
Fucking idiot.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So she cried.
She cried. They did say they were proud of me. So it was really cool.
Why do you think she cried?
There's a lot of baggage there for me, I think, and a lot of story that is totally mine. I want to own that. So, Mom, if you ever listen to my podcast, which I haven't told you about.
Yeah. Tell her once we start making millions and we've got over, I don't know, 10 followers.
Amazing, loyal followers, by the way. Thank you, everyone. And Gail, thanks for saying hi to Cassie. She says hi back.
Hey, Gail.
Let's see.
You were saying what was your story?
Oh, my story.
With all their baggage.
Yeah, there's like this. So my dad's got his PhD.
Multiple, right?
My brother has multiple.
Oh, your brother has multiple. I thought your dad had two as well.
No, I think he just has one.
Okay.
And my brother's got his PhD, 2 PhDs, I think, and then his medical degree. And I have a bachelor's degree. And so there's this, I'm not a Dr. Schaus like the rest of the men in my family.
Ooh.
So that's mine. And I'm like, am I okay with that? Kind of, but wouldn't it be cool? But anyway, that's part in there playing a little role. Then there's my mom went to college a couple of times and worked to get a degree and work through some of the college stuff. And she's so brilliant and smart. Like she's just so intuitive, really, really intelligent, and just kind of lost interest in like the way people taught. It wasn't the way she learned. And she struggled a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I think some of it has to do with that for her. Like seeing her boys go to school and succeed and be successful and have a chance that she didn't have. Is kind of associated with that.
Yeah.
And so part of it's like, are you crying for me, or are you crying for you, or are you crying for all of it? And do I need to know? Probably not. And so that I have just this skepticism, and I have for a really long time, and I think this is what kind of has put a bit of a wedge between my mom's and my relationship, is that I have this story that a lot of who she is and how she shows up in her relationship with me is more about her than it is about me or us. And it makes me sad.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So if I understand you correctly, you're saying her crying, her tears were because she was reflecting on her life and her struggle in and out of getting into college and graduating out of college. And then she looks at you. And so there is some pride that that's my son achieving his dreams, going for his dreams. It also reminds me that here's what I didn't do or couldn't have done or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I see. And if it's both, it probably is, right?
Yeah, probably
is.
is.
Some kind of mixture, I would assume. I mean, yeah, because I'm thinking about, I look at pictures, this is tangent. Well, my experience of that when you were talking about it is I look at pictures of little girls and their dads and then them achieving certain things like that. Do you remember a couple of years ago, there was I think it was a couple of years ago, there's that super badass Nike commercial, but it was all about women. Oh, what was it? Oh, it was Play Like a Girl. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember.
It was like, I play like a girl. And I remember watching that. I could even feel it right now. I remember like watching that, like super inspired. And I feel like my muscles get all flared. Like, fuck yeah, dude. Chicks are awesome.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think of that now with Grace crawling. And I'm like, yeah,
you got this, girl.
You got it. So yeah, it's got to be a mix of all that stuff, especially when you get to that point. I mean, because it was really interesting. Cassie and I were talking about the other day. We talked about wouldn't it be cool if we had an enormous windfall? If we won the $360 million lottery and then walked away with $210 million, right? We took the cash out right now, $210 million. And then we had the conversation of, what would we do? How would we do that? And not just like, what would we buy? We talked about that, like houses and blah, 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 blah. Mm. But it was more of, what would the values be that we wanted to think about and live by? Mm. Because we just entered a totally new stratosphere of life. That's just a different way of approaching life. If you've got $200 million in the bank, right?
Different set of resources,
and that's a different life. And this is connecting back to what you're saying. So this isn't just about me. Well, it is, but this you're watching the time. I hear you again. we never watch our time.
I know.
Is we got to, what do we give Grace?
Yeah.
What do we give her where it's like there's not even a question asked versus what does she have to earn? Because at $200 million, we could have multi-generations be set, right?
Oh yeah. You should make her do like a week retreat with surviving absolutely nothing. Or like a year on her own where she just has to figure this shit out.
Throw her in the middle of Canada.
Survival.
Yeah.
Like, figure it out, bitch.
Yeah.
Then you get your inheritance.
Here's a knife. Here's 2 matches.
And then drones flying over, watching it. Sorry, that was totally not your story.
But I like that story.
What were you thinking?
I'll bring that to Cassie. So we just thought of different things about what that meant and what we'd give to our families versus if, what we wouldn't want to give and how we'd want to spend it, whatnot. Mm. And part of it came to when we were thinking about Grace was we would want her to be able to achieve more than what we achieved. Mm. And coupled with, I don't want her to go through life with this idea of a silver spoon in her mouth. Like like nothing matters to you because you can do whatever you want because like you can fuck over people because you have money and then you could just, throw it in their face. Like that wouldn't work. So
fucking over people just needs to be one of your core values. That's
just
it.
Don't fuck over people. Yeah. It's probably in there somewhere. It's just in the fine print where it's like, this is assumed, but for those idiots that need to like know if I spill hot coffee on me, I'm going to burn myself probably. So anyway, that idea of how do we create a life where she can take what we have created and then up level herself? But she has to take responsibility for how if she does it and how she does it and whatnot. And we were talking about how it would be so inspiring to be able to create that. And so then I'm reflecting on what you're saying about your mom. You know, I don't know her background and your dad's background, like your grandparents and where they came from. But
yeah,
I'm assuming your dad being a PhD and then your brother being a 2 PhD and your mom figuring out and doing whatever she did, like, and then you and your brother being as successful as you are, I have to imagine they're probably very happy and to watch their kids take what they gave them and make something of their lives.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I'm sure that that's in there. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for reflecting that, because that does get lost. Because the reaction I was wanting, I guess, and didn't recognize that I wanted it, was just like excitement. Like, that is so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go. Like,
kind of
this
like
is
what
really
I did.
cool.
I was like, dude, that's super cool. And I'm a bit jealous.
Yeah, right. But it was like crying, and it's like, wow. Like, I get too that is a reflection also of my historical emotional set point, is this heavy, I don't even know that it's sadness anymore, but it's like this heaviness that just comes out in tears, and rather than an excitement or elation kind of a thing.
Or is it excitement? It could be excitement and elation, but the expression of it is through tears.
Through tears. It could be. Yeah.
I mean, I noticed, especially, I mean, I've always been on the emotional side, but especially with Bodhi and then with Grace, my freaking, if I like on a Richter scale, 1 to 10 or something, if my emotions get to a 5, it doesn't matter what emotion it is. It's like, then they start to come out as tears. I'm angry. And I'm fucking crying. I'm so happy that I'm crying.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Oh, God.
I want to go back to what you were saying, because the funny thing is, I think about that a lot.
Which one? The windfalls?
The windfall thing.
Yeah.
I've thought about it since I was young.
Oh, cool.
Right. And like, the first time I wanted to do something really big was when I was coaching water polo. I wanted to build this Olympic pool area for the kids, because the pool we had was shit. It had a shallow end. We were like the laughing stock of the division. It was like
is that
ridiculous.
not cool to have a shallow end?
No, not for water polo.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Oh, that means on water polo?
Yeah.
You had a shallow end for water?
So
people are stood?
So
I could play that one.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to like move to, it's just fucking weird. But
you had to fake that you were swimming?
Yeah. You got good at it too. Because you would get called on it all the time. The only person that could stand was the goalie, but then the goal got like 3 or 4 feet taller.
Oh,
it was just weird. It was sad.
Wild. Okay. Anyway, so yes, you had a dream of creating an Olympic swimming pool.
And so like the only way that I could see being able to do that was if I won the lottery. So I would hope and dream and wish like, oh, I wish I could win the lottery, because this is one of the things that I would do, is create that. It's really funny. But so that was me trying to relate to you and imagining the windfall. And I've done it multiple times. I was thinking about it the other day. I was driving, and I'm like, man, I wonder, like, had my family had more resources and like was able to move to Orange County early and get out of Riverside, what my life would be like. And then I started thinking about you and your parents and having that job, and then thinking about you and your car, that Subaru that you had for, I don't even know how long. I think you had it in college, right?
The hell bitch.
The hell bitch. Yeah. And you had it like for the first few years that I knew you at Productive Learning. Yeah. It's just like forever, this piece of shit car that was just destroyed. Like,
love that thing.
So what was coming to mind about that was, what did your parents do to make sure that you didn't turn out like an asshole? Even though, like, I'm sure that I
still am a little bit of an asshole.
Well, yeah, I think you're kind of an asshole sometimes, but I don't think you intentionally do it. I think you're just, I don't know.
It just naturally comes out. I just naturally show up as an asshole sometimes.
I'm an asshole too. Doesn't matter.
So your question though, I'm
I'm imagining like what was it? What were the values instilled by your parents, mom, dad, even grandparents or your family to you to have that kind of thing. And I like getting a car was huge for me.
Yeah.
Like my grandma gave me my first car.
Nice.
1978 Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Tiniest car in the world. I got it when I was 18.
Was it 2-door?
It was a 2-door hatchback. It was yellow.
Oh, hatchback.
Yeah,
nice.
It was crazy. I put speakers in it. I put a stereo in it.
Do you have any pictures of this thing?
I will find pictures.
Find pictures. I want to see this thing.
We'll
especially with you on it, with your marijuana pots earrings that you used to have.
Marijuana pot earrings. That's right. You remember that shit?
I do.
That's funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Like the values that I would get from my family were a lot around feminism, a lot around like people with money are like it's hard to like people with money are bad
people. Yep.
And it's not money. It's not like 1%ers only. It's like anybody that had more money than us. So, I mean, it felt that way. Yeah. That's what I took away.
Yeah, totally.
And so like, it would be a struggle then to have money and not be an asshole.
Yeah, that's interesting. What I always found, semi-answering your question. What I found interesting only once I began working for Productive Learning, so this is 2010 and after, is that my parents didn't instill values by way of stating these are our values. Mm-hmm. And that didn't seem strange growing up. We just went through life. But when I became familiar with what Productive Learning did and what my dad at that point had been doing for 20 years with Productive Learning and then another 10 years prior, so for 30 years before I was even born in this world of personal development, it then seems strange to me that we didn't have a code of conduct and family
coat
values,
of arms with a motto and all that kind of
shit. Or mission statements, or talk about how thoughts and feelings are things and blah blah blah. Then and I remember asking him about it, and he said you could do it multiple ways, and he knows that there's different families that do. He believed that you learn more or better, like more in depth, with just living it out.
Being around it.
Being around
being exposed to it, having experiences.
Exactly.
Rather than
just a verbal, here's our value, but then you do whatever you do.
Yeah. And because sometimes those don't align.
Because then those don't align, yeah. And so he was. So when I understood that was his philosophy, is just learn by doing. I did that same kind of reflection on like what were the values that they just demonstrated by the way of how they showed up. And my dad's, and then my grandpa Lyndon. So this lineage of Lyndons they are hard workers, and they take probably too much responsibility, meaning they could have other people do certain things for them, but they won't ask or they won't delegate. They'll take that on, and then they take on that responsibility and that burden because they have you got to work hard for your living. You've got to work hard for what you do. So I think there's that infused, coupled with my mom's probably main value. I think that would be my dad's lineage main value. And then I think my mom's main value is around family. Family is first. You do anything for the family. You show up for the family. It's that stereotypical, Italian family feast. Everyone's around. Your cousins are there. Your aunties and uncles are there. Your mom and dad and grandparents are there. Like it's just there's family, and that's it. Then a far second place is friends and the outside people. But that's it's out there.
That's a distance to cover.
It's a distance, right? Yeah. Whereas my dad's not that way. My dad's family is as well, but he's much more on the social side of things. My mom is like, if she just was around family all day, she's good. She's good. Wow. So those two things were ones that were demonstrated. Now there's also the flip side of the coin for those as well. Like my mom's has insecurities around being in public and stating this is what I want, this is what I like, when it's not her family. And I hold a lot of those insecurities myself. And then my dad taking too much responsibility and not creating structure or support for people to help him to create his dreams. Like, he did a great job with creating a little business. But then the business only got to what it could get to. Is it because he created the lifestyle that he wanted? Yes. But is it also because maybe he just didn't see beyond taking on all of the workload that the workload of the Lindens always took on? I think so. And I look at myself and look at my own inabilities to see different routes of being a leader that are just blind spots to me. Like, I just don't think of, ask them, do this. How do we create structure for them to go and help succeed on this thing that we all want? I just don't, it doesn't occur to me, or else I get insecure with showing up that way. So,
wow, that's pretty big, dude.
So I think those are different ones that they showed me, at least the values that they demonstrated. As far as my first car was a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Oh, I think you told me that one.
Yeah, Jeep Grand Cherokee. It had leather seats.
Ooh.
Yeah, it felt fucking good.
Where'd you get it?
Taylor and I got it, so it was our car, but she was scared to drive it. She didn't like driving. She's not a very spatial person, like spatial motor skills and whatnot, or just that's not her forte. Whereas I'm like athletic, I can move me into any kind of position or thing, I can do it. It's not her forte, so she was always scared. So it was our car, but it was my car.
Yeah.
But it was one of those, I mean, who didn't have this, but this was one of those ones where in high school, whenever you turned it on, the fucking belts would just scream and you'd be the guy just like, nobody's looking, right? Nobody's looking. Okay. It's, it warmed up enough. You start to rev the engine, so hopefully they get it moving faster. Come on, warm up. Oh, God.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
Yep.
Nice.
And then I bought the Subaru. Actually, what happened was I couldn't afford the Subaru, but I really needed a car for the jobs that I was doing at college. And so I made my dad a deal that if I think I put in $2,000 and he put in 12 or 13 or whatever it was. And then I told him I'd pay him back over the years. And it was something ridiculous. I can't remember, but it was like $100 a month.
Yeah.
Or like $50 or $100 a month. And so it was going to take 50 years to pay off. And I think eventually, it was a birthday like 5 or 6 years later.
Released you from your indentured servitude.
He said, how about your birthday present is you don't have to keep paying me? Because I think I got up to like 5,000 at that point. So I had another 10. He's like, how about we just clear that debt?
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
That was the hell bitch.
Nice.
Yeah, the first one is called Chief, the Grand Cherokee Chief, right? And then there was Hell Bitch, was the black Subaru. And then there's the Gandalf, the gray.
Yep.
That's the gray Tacoma.
And now it's going to be some van.
Now it's going to be some van. Yep. Cassie's car is called Pearl. I don't know why.
Nice.
She thinks it's shiny like a pearl or something.
Yeah.
It's not as cool of a name as Gandalf.
Well, pearl always means clitoris to me. So
is that right?
Yeah.
You know a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think I know a lot.
Yeah.
Which isn't always true.
Yeah. So what do you think the values were that you grew up with? Did your parents state values to you? Like, we have a value around honesty.
No.
What do you think they demonstrated by their nature?
Oh, that's such a great question. I think the values I came away with, I'm trying to see if they align with what I think they demonstrated. I picked up love somewhere, and I'm pretty sure it was home. Like, my dad would always be there. Like, all my games, all take me to, like, if I needed to be somewhere, a doctor's appointment, whatever, he would do it.
Mhm.
I mean, there's so many trips to the urgent care that we did. Even in the same night, we went back 3 times. I remember one night, it was one of the worst nights ever.
For you?
Yeah.
Jesus, what happened to you?
Asthma. Like my
God
asthma
damn, dude.
was, I would get shots of adrenaline in my ass. And I one night walked back out into the parking lot after being there for the second time, and I'm shaking from the
You just
adrenaline.
can't-
And then as soon as we walked to the car, I couldn't breathe again.
Fuck.
It was horrible. And my dad was up. I mean, that's at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was horrible.
Ugh.
But that's what I remember, is that no matter how bad shit got, my dad was always there.
That's if you want to call that love, I totally, that's a great word for it. You definitely demonstrate that. You show up no matter what. I mean, how many times have you gone over to Mark's house to help him build something, or my house to help me build something, or you showed up on random weekends for workshops?
Yeah.
Or you and I hanging at the office late into the afternoon to evening because we figured out we needed to adjust our CRM system coding, and then we gotta just do a bunch of grunt work and whatnot. You just show up. You're there. You are there. I'm a there kind of person.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my experience of it, by the way, is it feels so good. It feels so good to have somebody just, I'm there. Whether they do something or not something, they don't do something. It's like, that's completely beside the point. And by the way, you show up and you always do something, which is great. But just the fact of being there, it's such a comforting feeling.
You know, my brother had said something, like he took a workshop a little while ago, and somebody asked him, like, because my brother and I hadn't talked for 13 years.
I know, it's crazy. I know you guys are like talking all the time.
Yeah. But he came to a workshop, and one of my friends asked him, you know, what's it like hanging out with your brother again? And he's like, you know, I forgot. I'm going to cry right now. He said, it's like no time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever Andy's around, I get this sense, like, I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about anything at all. And it's just like, I didn't understand exactly what he meant, but what you just said, that ties into that thought.
Yeah. It's big. It's such a great feeling.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's a safety net under everything that you do. It's like you still have to go do whatever it is, but you could fall off the ropes course, but you're just gonna fall into the net that's right underneath it. So go do it. That's what it feels like.
Go do it.
That's why I asked you to come over and help me build the fence.
Yeah,
because I totally get what I need to do, and I'm just so scared of doing it. And then you're just gonna stand there like, yeah, of course you're gonna dig the hole just like you think about you're supposed to do. And then of course you gotta drill the thing right there. And it's like, thanks for just reassuring me and being the safety net. It's fantastic.
That's funny.
You forgot you're gonna help me do that, didn't you? Because you said you're gonna do it today, and you don't look like you're in workout clothes.
I'm not. I fucked that one up. Better start making a list.
Okay, so that was one. Your dad showing up.
Yeah,
just showing up. What is there another one that comes to mind of what values that your parents just demonstrated by their natural way of being? A main one from your mom, maybe.
Yeah.
Is your mom where you got feminism from?
Yeah, big time. Big time. She sees so much injustice in the world, and gets so affected by it, and has it's more of an emotional effect than it is like a logical one. It's not like she has a plan and knows what would be better, but it's just more of a sorrow for the pain that all these things happen.
Mm.
And to be able to have that kind of compassion and empathy, I think I've definitely picked up from her. And she does it with people and individuals. It's been kind of almost like she would be thinking about someone, like she would just randomly mention somebody's name or whatever, and then like 10 minutes later they would call. Like just kind of, interesting. Like she would just pick up on energy, pick up on people, like get images of them in her mind, and just be connected on a different level, I think. And I've always admired that about her.
Interesting. So then where do you think, what did that then instill on you, do you think?
I think there's a level of empathy that I have that's pretty heightened. And then
just a
level of compassion that I get an attitude about. And this is one of the things that I'm working on, I think, is like I can feel like the empathy is there. I can understand how people are feeling, what they're feeling, and it just can be really overwhelming. And then there's a damn, I wish you could be different that sneaks in there. And I think I get that from some of the messages I grew up with at home too. So,
but that wasn't the value.
That wasn't the value.
That's not the value.
Yeah.
So let me make sure that I follow.
Yeah.
Because I was on a roll and then you took a hard
Sorry.
left. That's okay. So you were saying mom had empathy for people, individuals, and for groups of people.
Yeah.
And her care, concern, empathy for them.
Yeah.
You have that too. You look at the world and you get an emotional hit when you're looking at people trying to flee Afghanistan and COVID numbers going up and down and blah, blah, blah. Black Lives Matter.
Wonderful things too.
Wonderful
yeah.
things, good things, bad things, whatever.
Yeah.
You get a big hit, and maybe even on the bigger side, comparable to other people. And that's mom.
Yeah.
That's mom. Then you're just throwing in this other piece.
Other
piece of knowledge of woe is me.
Okay. Don't need to go there. Yeah. There's also a rebelliousness. My mom was a fucking rebel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I only met her that one time. I only met her the time that her and your dad and I think it's your aunt.
Your
aunt came and did Beyond Reasons.
Beyond Reasons, yeah. that was cool. They had a good time. But yeah, so there's this. So like I just saw, like you mentioned Nike earlier, and one of the athletes in the Tokyo Olympics, a runner. I don't know the whole situation, but basically she had a C-section and a scar, and the Nike ended her contract.
Why?
With her because of the scar. Like her as a model and representing the shoes they were no longer a fit or something.
Why is her belly being shown for shoes?
Exactly. And so she started her own brand and did her own thing, and it's just like this fuck you. Oh yeah. And so it's like, yeah, I dig that. I'm super attracted to that kind of rebelliousness and do it anyway. Just fuck yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome to me.
Well, I want to know who this is. So she's a Japanese
athlete? No, she's an American athlete.
She just was in Tokyo for the Olympics.
Yeah, I just started following her on Instagram. Maybe I'll run across her as we're looking. But yeah, so that's another thing is. Oh, look,
you're about to post something on Conscious Guys Instagram, like everybody else should be following. You heard me. Out there. Conscious guys on Instagram.
Guys. That's right. We're badass. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Anyway,
post it.
Cool. Yeah, post about it.
She's cool
on Instagram. Ooh, that's what we should post about. Let's see if we can find posts that represent those 4 values that we just went through. 2 of mine and 2 of yours.
Ooh, okay.
Mine was about family and hard work, and yours was about empathy and
showing up.
And showing up. Fuck yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll see if our followers can point at the values that were passed down to them, that they can see how they were passed down to them generationally.
That would be a great exercise we could include in our our free thing on core values that we're putting together.
Oh yeah,
that would be amazing. Like historical values that
that'd be really interesting.
They represent now from their history.
Let's freaking finish that.
Let's do that
so that these listeners can get a little taste of us. And that concludes our episode today.
I think we're done.
All right. That was cool. That was good. That was a good episode.
That was really awesome, dude.
Really awesome.
All I could think of is that stupid TikTok I sent you about the X-rated waffles in Toronto.
Oh my gosh. The penis waffles. That have all that sugary cream going down the side. Jeez.
Oh, I hope you guys get laid more and have a lot of fun. Enjoy your values.
Bye-bye. Have fun.
Just degrading rapidly.